we didn't send you to make the calculations of the economic policy of the country. Your job is Afotzas Hayadus V'Mayonis. Your job is spreading Yiddishkeit and spreading the Mayonis with confidence in the Eibishter. Surely, people will ask you what you think about the future. You should say you're not a prophet, but your job is to spread Yiddishkeit and the Mayonis mitach b'tochem b'Hashem. This was the answer.
I'm Yossi Kamen. Welcome to Among Chassidim by Der Herr, an ongoing farbrengen about life as a chassid, our vibrant connection with the Rebbe, and inspired living shaped by the way he teaches us each and every day. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Grunblatt, how are you?
Baruch Hashem, Aleichem Sholem, Ksiva Achsim Otoivo, Leshon Otoivo Msuko.
Amen. Okay, thank you very much. So, looking forward to this conversation, and I would like to begin. You are the Shliach and the head Shliach in Argentina, but you're also from there. So maybe you could give me a little bit of the background of how your family, I guess, got to Argentina, where they come from, and we'll start a little bit with your upbringing, and we'll go from there.
Okay, you know that the Yom Huledes of a Chassid is the day he came to Lubavitch. That we have to start from there. But since you are asking from another point of view, is my parents, Aleim HaSholem, they both Holocaust survivors. My father from Hungary came after the war in Tovshin Zayin, 47. And my mother came from Berlin, 1940, to Uruguay. Both, Baruch Hashem, they went through, they didn't go the atrocities, they went to the whole hardships, etc. My mother, when she came, she was 15 years old. In the ship were 200 Jews, and only 2 families kept kosher. One of them was their family, and people were telling them, this is finished already, what you doing? And they were strong. They couldn't get a job in Uruguay without working Shabbos, but my grandmother said, the Eibishter saved our lives, not we should live as non-Jews. We definitely were going to get parnasa. A week later, they got parnasa. My father was in a labor camp, not concentration camp, through the war, and he had a Chassidish upbringing. From my mother's side was a Yekkishe upbringing, but the Frume Yekkishe upbringing from the Adas Yisrael Gemeinde in Berlin. The Rebbe davened there in Berlin in the shul that I imagined that my grandfather davened there and my mother davened there, because it was just 2 blocks from where my mother lived in Berlin, and they were part of the Adas Yisrael. And by the way, also the Rebbe came to America with the Rebbetzin, Tovshin Zayin, together with my great uncle in the same ship.
In the boat.
Yes. And they talked a lot, v'chulu, with the Rebbetzin Chane. They told me that the Rebbe was in the room.
Chaimushka.
No, the Rebbetzin Chane.
Oh, you mean when the Rebbe came to Tovshin Zayin? Okay.
Yeah, Tovshin Zayin, yeah. Rebbetzin Chane was talking with them, and the Rebbe was closed in his room the whole time. He didn't come out. He was in the room the whole time on the travel there. B'chol ofen, my father had a Chassidish upbringing, not Chabad. They knew about Chabad, and a Hungarian one, They were not specifically Chassidim from a definitely Rebbe. They were Chassidim from all tzaddikim. And but my grandfather, he, on the first Seder of Pesach after getting married, he made the Seder in half an hour and ran away to be by his Rebbe's Seder. I mean that he had the lachluchis, the nekuda, you know. And my father was in yeshiva also before the war. And during the war,
In Hungary.
in Hungary, yes. And during the war, there was the Jews were under Hungarian control, doing the military. My father had to do military service, and under the Hungarians, but the Hungarians were under the Germans, and they had to work and build and do things, trenches, ways, highways for the German army. And they were under the Germans, under the German system. And my father, Baruch Hashem, never lost one day of putting on tefillin all over the war, and not later. Even half a year he was running from one place to the other, never lost one day of putting on tefillin. And he even had a Pesach Seder there under the nose of the commander of the Hungarian of the German commander. They gave him reshus. He got a package of 2 kilos matzahs from his father, and they gave him reshus to make a seder. And this is a history. That the reason why the commander gave him reshus, because this was like a military system, and my grandfather could send letters to him, and he could send letters back. And the censorship saw that my grandfather wrote to my father, my distinguished, honorable, very capable son, etc., etc. And my father answered him, "I'm not honorable. I'm not distinguished. I'm just your son." And looks like this was noisechein. The commander told clearly my father this was noisechein by him, his pashtus. That's why he gave him reshus to make the seder there. My father also built a sukkah there. On the ground, under the ground, he built a sukkah. Told me how he davened Yom Kippur there. But after the war, my father came to Argentina, and he came with payas even to Argentina, and he was always Baruch Hashem. He was always frum, and he always had the Chassidish general Hungarian nekuda. In a specific way of being mehader in mitzvahs, v'chulu v'chulu. This is about my, let's say, basically my grandparents. Myself, I was raised by them, Baruch Hashem.
That was your parents.
This was my parents, yes, parents and my grandparents, yes. I can say more, but I don't think this is interesting here for this note.
Okay.
This is not the point of the note. And when I was young, I was by the Yekkishe kehillah. My father was the president of the Yekkishe kehillah in Belgrano of Rabbi Oppenheimer, Olav Sholem, for 7 years. He was the president, but he never was a Yekke. He never raised us as Yekkes, never raised us in the minhagim of Yekkes. He raised us on the Chassidish minhagim, Nusach Sfart, Handmatze for the Sdorim in Pesach, going to mikveh. My father used to go to mikveh every day, had a shiur gemara 6:30 in the morning. And in my house, we heard always Chassidish Sipurim, not Chabad. Really, I have to say that I never heard about Chabad and about Tanya, about the Alter Rebbe, before I came to Rabbi Baumgarten. This was when I was already 12, 13 years old. Never heard. But yeah, in my house, yes, we heard about Rebbe Melech, Reb Zushe, the Baal Shem, the Mezritcher Maggid also we didn't hear. No, the Cheze, Kedushas Levi. My father used to look into all these books Friday night by the table. Kedushas Levi, Noam Elimelech, all these books. These was the books, the Rachaim HaKodesh, v'chule. And that means that I had the nekude of Emunas Tzadikim. And by us, the Tzadikim were the Chassidish Rebbe. I never heard really about other kind of Gdei Yisrael. Never heard. Yes, the Chassam Sofer I heard, Rabbi Akiva Eiger I heard. When I studied in Yeshiva with Rabbi Baumgarten, sure, I heard the Rishonim, Achronim. But in my house, let's say, the tzaddikim always were from the Chassidish, let's say, camp. Even though my father told me that in his house in Hungary, they had a Tanya, they made a Yontef when it was the Geula of the Frierdiker Rebbe after Yud Beis Tammuz, was a big simcha. They made a special Suda. Yeah. They said Tilib, but the Frierdiker Rebbe was in jail. And my grandfather studied Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch. But I heard all this only after I came to Chabad, not before. And my father even didn't know what is Primis Ateire. When I came to Yeshiva, I would write Primis Ateire. My father asked me, what is Primis Ateire? I said, Ateire. Was like Primis Ateire, Chetenis Ateire. You don't understand the difference. But by the time my father became a Lubavitcher, full-fledged, let's say, full-fledged.
After you did?
Yeah, after we came to Yeshiva, yeah. And he started giving shiurei Chassidus in Yeshiva. He taught Tanya to Baal Tshuvas, 17-year-old, 18-year-old in Yeshiva, and he was so happy about it that he had to go through heart surgery. And he was so happy, it made him so healthy, giving the shiur, that the surgery was postponed for a few years. When he had through the surgery, years later, he got an infection, he passed away from the surgery. The pale, that means the highest was got in the Tanya, the doses. And another thing I can tell you, that my parents used to invite always people for the Seder. People, they don't make a Seder, they should come, family, they should come to see the Seder, to teach them the Seder, to see the Seder. And I remember in one conversation, they were speaking about frum people, not frum people. And my father said on the conversation, the Lubavitcher know how to speak to non-frum people. This I heard, avort azi kelach haryat, not specially said. Okay, and when I was 12, I really went to yeshiva called Chofetz Chaim. And we studied in Yeshiva Chofetz Chaim 1 year with a Litvischer Magid. Next year came Rabbi Baumgarten, Olav Hasholem. He was our Rosh Yeshiva.
Can you tell me about Rabbi Baumgarten?
Can
you tell me about...
I knew him from far because I didn't leave. Rabbi Baumgarten...
Can you tell me about him?
Sure. When he became the Rosh Yeshiva there in the Yeshivas Chofetz Chaim, they put him a condition: he cannot teach Chassidus and cannot make Lubavitch propaganda. This was the condition. He didn't want to go into the job, but he asked the Rebbe, and the Rebbe told him, "You take the job." And he, without making any propaganda and without teaching Chassidus, he made Chassidim. Like the Rebbe told him on Yekkishe once, you don't have to put my name. People see you, they see me. You don't have to put, yeah. And this was the reality. I knew other Orthodox, frum, ehrliche Rabbonim, but I saw a difference. There was a difference between them and Rabbi Baumgarten. It was some kind of a difference. Even the way he davened, even the way he davened, I remember that I could see that when he davened, without any external attitudes and conduct, I saw his face. I was connected. I saw he was connected in his mind. I saw him connected. Besides this, when he used to daven with hearts. Used to cry sometimes. I remember Erev Yom Kippur, we went out from the mikveh, went to daven minche. He went to the Omed. He couldn't say the words of Chazara Hashatz. He was so moved, Erev Yom Kippur, by the davening, crying. He couldn't say the words. And he was a mamesh, a yid of Mesiras Nefesh mamesh, for Mekayim Zayin Mitzvahs. Mesiras Nefesh. He lived on the 5th floor, really 6th floor in America, the 6th floor, and he didn't have a porch and didn't have a patio, a chotzer for a sukkah. He built a sukkah on the air, on the 6th floor. He had a Baal Tshuva called Engineer Polichenko, that he wasn't an engineer already for years. And he took him, and the engineer took 2 irons, poles going out, and he make a small floor, a sukkah like the shiur of Zayin Tfochim, Zayin Tfochim, a shiur, Roshi Veruvoi, Veshulchovei, as a sukkah. He should have a sukkah. Next year, he already had a bigger sukkah, that he had 3 people to be able to have orchim. I had the schus to eat in his sukkah there on the 6th floor. Really, you were trembling when you're going out. But he made sure that he was everything okay. And we saw he was a Mehaler Pesach, the way he didn't drink the water from the kitchen. He brought water from outside the city, from a mayon for Pesach to drink. This is what we saw him. He was a special Yerushalayim meet betachlis. But we saw in him, he was so devoted to his students, totally devoted to the students and to the family, to the students. Even we saw how he was devoted to the porter, the doorman of the yeshiva, because we moved to another building, and they moved out to another building. It wasn't a Chabad yeshiva yet. It was a Rabbi Baumgarten. He was the Rosh Yeshiva. It was Yeshivas Chofetz Chaim in the building called Chazon Ish. And we had a picture of Rabbi Zalman Meltzer there on the wall. This is the yeshiva where Rabbi Baumgarten taught. And but the doorman used to shave with a sakin, with a knife, with a razor. Rabbi Baumgarten died to give him b'matone a shaving machine. He shouldn't be raised with this. But he died for every student. He used to bring bananas for us. He should have what to eat. He used to buy the plastic bowl for the recess. He used to buy it for us. He was totally devoted. And came Shavuos. We were 14 years old. And we were not living in the same shchune, but we wanted to be Shavuos by Rabbi Baumgarten, to be learning with him the whole night, etc., etc. He put mattresses in his house on the floor, all the floors of all the rooms, full with mattresses, with bochrim sleeping in his house to be with him. He was sick with in his feet, and he couldn't walk, but what did he do? He brought the whole kitta to his house. He was lying on the bed with a big gemara on the bed, all the bochrim around the bed, and he gave the shiur there from the bed. This was, and then also He used to travel to the Rebbe and used to write broches for us, and he used to have the Rebbe's picture in his house. And I saw the first time I saw a big library of Sifrei Chassidus. I never saw so many Sifrei Chassidus. I saw it in his house, and he was really he not just had the influence on us. He had the influence on the Yira Shamayim of the city. He brought in the concept of Chol of Yisrael in the Shemer Shabbos kehillah, in the Frume kehillah in Buenos Aires then. He had a big ashpoeh. He was part of the kashrus vat, the vata kashrus of the city, but wasn't from official city. But for three rabbonim there, three different rabbonim. He was the Chabadnik, and he was very well respected because he was a Yedea Sefer, he was a Talmid Chochem, and he was a real Yerei Shamayim, and people had, I'm talking, the Charedischer Elam had a lot of confidence on his psokim and on his ashgoches. This is
he didn't speak to you about the Rebbe, about Lubavitch, about Chassidus. He didn't speak to you about it.
No, almost no. I never learned Tanya, not one word Tanya before I came to New York to the yeshiva. Never. First time I learned the Sikhe was with Mr. Sandhaus, Olav Hasholem. Rabbi Tzvi Melech Sandhaus, Olav Hasholem. He was a Lubavitch Chosid, a full-fledged Lubavitch Chosid, because Rabbi Baumgarten had the minhag that when a bocher traveled to yeshiva, to New York, the whole yeshiva used to go to the airport. And it was like an hour travel to the airport with a city bus. We went with the city bus, a whole hour. But the whole yeshiva went. He built the whole concept of going to yeshiva to learn with achshivas. And the Rabbi Mr. Sandhaus went with us also in the bus, and he took a Likutei Sichos with him, and he sat with me. He learned with me. I remember Sichos from Shabbos Parshas Vayigash, the Doimen Tzemeach Chaim Medaber in the Mishkan, the difference of Mishkan with Beis Hamikdash. This is the first Siche I ever learned. But no, Befeiresh, when it was the 6-day war, he told us what the Rebbe spoke on Lag Boimer about having confidence at the Rebbe Lo Yonu V'Lo Ish in Shemer Yisrael. And he told us what the Rebbe said from the Rosh, I think he brought, that Bischus Hanochas Tfilim Yikuyam in the Anshe Tzobot and in the merit of putting on Tfilim of a Jew, it will be, this will protect the Jewish soldiers on the battlefield. He told us this, and this had an impact on me, that I went on Mivtza Tfilim, even though I was 12 years old. I even wasn't Bar Mitzvah, and I went with another person. He's a rabbi in Colombia. It was just an earthquake in Colombia. He's a rabbi in Colombia, Rabbi Goldschmidt Shlite. He was then a menahel of the Bet Sefer, of the elementary school of Rabbi Oppenheimer, and we went together on Sunday to do Mivtza Tfilim. And I went in the shul of Rabbi Oppenheimer, and I put a big sign of what the Rebbe said, that in schus of putting on tefillin with Yidden, you're protecting the soldiers. This way, let's say, he transmitted Rebbe, but on the practical way, on a Manik Yisrael way, from this point. But not on derech Chassidus b'miyuchet, not from this part. The derech Chassidus we saw in himself, in his life. We didn't learn from the book. We learned from the person.
Wow. So he sent you to New York to learn yeshiva. That was the seder.
This wasn't exactly like this. Most of the students in our kita, the parents were from, basically, let's say. But yeah, Shomer Shabbos, yes. But they didn't have they were not, they came to Argentina, their parents and grandparents before the war, and it was very weak. They didn't have these concepts of yeshiva. They were not, let's say, put it in these ways, they were not Yidei Sefer. They didn't know which yeshiva, this yeshiva. For them, my father had a day. My father went through Shas. I mean, my father he knew what he, and Rabbi Baumgarten was very mechabet. He didn't want to force. He was moishach, not forcing. And he gave my father the choice. He should choose a yeshiva for me. He didn't force a yeshiva. But I didn't tell you the main part of the story. I'm telling you all the Narishkeiten and not the main point. The main point is, when I was 14 years old, I wanted to learn in yeshiva the whole day, and not only Limudei Chol. I was learning high school, Limudei Chol, and half a day in the yeshiva. Half in the yeshiva by Rabbi Baumgarten, an hour was playing ball. Half an hour was doing trouble in the kita and making fun from his English. And
from his English?
Yeah, because he was speaking Spanish, mixing with English. And we used to make fun.
He was an American, yeah.
Yeah. And we used to make fun. We would play with him, laugh with him. We should climb on top of him, like children climb on top of the father. We used to climb on top of him. And but I wanted to learn in serious yeshiva. I was already 14 years old, 14 and a half. I wanted to learn a normal yeshiva for 24 hours a day. And I wrote a letter to the Rebbe. I was 14 years old, wrote a Rebbe, and I sent it by mail. I went to the post office. I didn't tell nobody, not Rabbi Baumgarten, not my parents. My mother, that came from Berlin, she wanted me university. Okay, she already knew I wouldn't go to university, but at least finish the high school. And I was then in finishing the second year of high school. That means I had 3 years more of high school. I cannot go 3 years more of high school. But in those days, your parents ruled on you. It's not like today. And my mother was a Yekkishe. A word is a word. Ordnung is Ordnung. Geendigt. I wrote to the Rebbe. I want to learn yeshiva. In 30 days, I got the answer of the Rebbe. Ksaviat Kedesh, Chasimas Ksaviat Kedesh. The Rebbe gave me a broche. And the broche was Yosef Bas Modush Kide Belimut HaTeiru Bekium HaMitzvos Behidur Asher Zeu HaDerech Lekabolas HaBroches BaMitztarech Betach Yedea Mishiur Tilim HaChotshi Sheimri Machar Atfilo V'yishmer Olav Mikanu Lehabo Vashem Yisborech Yimal Mishal Zlivei V'chsimas Yad Ketshe. Das given the letter. But the Ness is given.
What was that? You have to translate it.
Say
it in English, the letter.
The letter was to a boy, 14-year-old boy from Argentina, never wrote before to the Rebbe, didn't have any introduction to the Rebbe. Nobody told the Rebbe who I am, what I am, Just I wrote to the Rebbe, I want to go to learn in a yeshiva. That's all. And the Rebbe answered, add in diligence and dedication in learning Torah and being very mehader, very special, doing mitzvahs in a beautiful and complete and special way, then this is the way to receive the blessings of Hashem in what is needed. You surely heard about the shiur of saying Tehillim after davening, how it is divided on the monthly on the months, and you should keep this shiur from now on, and the Eibishter will fulfill the wishes of your heart. And the Rebbe signed with his signature in person. I got this answer. Took 1 month. 1 month. I got the answer. And this year, b'derech nes, I went to yeshiva. But there was another nes. My father wanted to send me to a Oberlander Ungarische Yeshiva. He told me, Chassidus,
in New York?
In New York, yes. My father said, Chassidus, you have time after you get married. You know a lot of Nigle. You will know a lot of Nigle. Then you go on into Chassidus. Now is the time to learn seriously Nigle. That's why he wanted to send me to Oberlander Ungarische Yeshiva. And I had an uncle in New York, and he was a Hungarian Chassid, and they went with Rabbi Baumgarten. Rabbi Baumgarten went to look at yeshiva for me here in New York, together with my uncle. And they went to 4 different yeshivas. Mattersdorfer Yeshiva, Wiener Yeshiva, I don't know. But anyways, this was 1969. Bring a 14-year-old boy, a 15-year-old boy from Argentina. Who is going to take care of him? Who knows who is this guy? What is he going to do? And besides this, yeshiva cost money. All kinds of obstacles. No yeshiva was ready to take me. My uncle, even though he was a Hungarian Chassid, he was in the line of Satmar. He wasn't a Satmar Chassid, but in this line. But he said, I don't understand what is the problem. He has 2 friends. They are learning in Chabad. Was Chaim Lapidus, soll sein gesund, and Binyamin Feiland, soll sein gesund. Those 2, they were learning in Chabad. He has already 2 friends in Chabad. Why doesn't he go to Chabad? My uncle said, Rabbi Baumgarten said, I don't have any problem. But the father asked for another yeshiva. And then Rabbi Baumgarten wrote to my father, and I remember he wrote to my father, God is witness that I wasn't the one to press Chabad. It was your brother who brings your son to Chabad. Because it was a second ness, how I came to Chabad. I say it in few words. I came to Chabad because there were no obstacles to come. I said, it would be asking for money and this. I don't know what would have been. I mean, surely I would have been in Chabad because this was the Gochel. And I see clearly how the Rebbe picked me up to come, like he picks up everybody to come. The answer right away and the nest that it came. It was really milmailo. That I came. It wasn't my choice, not at all. I didn't know where I was coming in. Yes, no. I knew a yeshiva, but I didn't know something special in Chabad, different from others. Not at all. And that's why I say it would be obstacles. I say to a lot of menahalim, when they make a lot of obstacles to students.
A lot of tuition.
A lot of tuition. If they would charge tuition like charge today, Rahman al-Itzlan, I don't know where I would have been.
And I'm sure you know that you're not the only one. There's a whole fine group of people that ended up in Lubavitch Yeshivas because they were not charged tuition and their parents like that option, right?
I say when I even speak to non-from people and they ask me for my story. They come to Argentina, they see and what an Argentinian boy because I didn't come from America. I'm Argentinian. How did you come? And I tell them, no, I came to Lubavitch because it was free tuition. That's why I came to Lubavitch. Das ist the Weg. Okay, I think this is. Then I came to yeshiva.
To where?
I came to Ocean Parkway.
You're like Besmedish, whatever, high school.
Yes, Besmedish, yes. There were Rabbi Ushpal was the Magichir in Nigle, Rabbi Yoel was my first Maggid Shiur in Chassidus. He was my mashpia when I arrived here at 15-year-old, and he was my mashpia by 16. And then I was by Reb Melech in Morristown for 2 years, and then came back to, also was again a shliach in Ocean Park, was as a shliach. Rabbi Yoel was a weiter my mashpia, bekitzer.
So I have two questions, which are probably connected. I want to hear about the first time you saw the Rebbe, and my second question, which is probably connected to this, you don't really know anything about Lubavitch, about the culture, about anything. You don't. You said you have two friends, but like, how was this, the landing in Lubavitch like this from Argentina? Maybe you can tell me about this.
I will tell you. I came to Lubavitch. I thought that Lubavitch is like any yeshiva. I didn't think that it's something different. You sit and learn Torah. Elamai. Other yeshivas learn Musar. They learn Chassidus. And even I came to yeshiva Sunday morning. I came into Ocean Parkway in yeshiva. Till Friday, I didn't see the Rebbe. It's not that they took me to come to Kriyas HaTeirah, to a minche. Nobody even didn't speak to me to come. I would have come. I have nothing against Chas v'Sholem. I mean, but nobody told me even to come. I'll tell you more. I came the first Shabbos that I came to 770. Almost I went to Williamsburg. Why? Because I had an aunt living in Williamsburg. She wanted to invite the nephew to come for Shabbos. And I was going, but for me it was natural. You go to family. What's the problem with it? Then they put pressure on me. No. You come to 770, you have to see. Okay. They had to put pressure on me, but because of family things. But nobody explained me, Rebbe, not one word. It's only by me was because Emunas Tzadikim, the Rebbe is a Tzadik, and that's it. Not something special. Not even like the Manik Yisrael. No, he's the big, the big tzaddikim of our generation. And for me, sure, it's Chus to come. Definitely. But nobody, I tell you more, I got into 770. Nobody told me, now the Rebbe is coming in. Or the Rebbe is going to come in. No, I was standing there by the corridor, and suddenly it opens, and I see the Rebbe. This was the moment I remember clearly, the moment I saw the Rebbe first time. This was the moment. And farbrengen, next day, even though wasn't normal to be farbrengen, but since it was before Shabbat, before Yud Shvat HaGodel, the Rebbe started farbrengt every week from Shabbos Vayechi. Shabbos Vayechi was the first Shabbos I was by the Rebbe. Vayechi, gelebt, is from Shabbos Vayechi, farbrengt Vayechi, and Shmeis, and by farbrengen and Shabbos, Poshet, the whole atmosphere, the whole siches, the whole thing took me to another world. It also was without no preparation. I just knew the Rebbe is going to speak. I knew clearly the Rebbe, a tzaddik, a God of Yisrael, sure. But it was such an experience, not from this world, being there by farbrengen. This was, and then I made up. I'm standing there, listening to the Rebbe. I have to take something from what the Rebbe says.
You knew Yiddish then?
I knew Yiddish, but I didn't know a Litvische Yiddish. And half of the words in Yiddish are also Loshen Kodesh words in a Litvische Mifta. Beire, Eise. I wasn't used to this Mifta at all. But I made myself, I have to take something from what the Rebbe says. And I made a point from every sikhe to take something, at least one shure, one clear thing, one thing put to keep my, and really, when later on, when I look at the Shlichus, after I understood and I learned the Shlichus, I saw that I remembered Nekudas, but the Rebbe spoke then, Tovshin Lamed, that really they stood in my head from when I later learned the Shlichus. And the second very important thing was when I started learning Shlichus with a younger man, he was a Shliach there, Folya Minkovic. He started learning with me Shlichus by night after Seder. Really, it caught me. I liked it. Es gewinnt sehr Geschmack. And then, not the first week, this was already the first week, but later on I started learning Chassidus, started Likutei Torah. I got very impressed from Chassidus. Never heard such concepts at all. And then later on, when I learned in Tanya about Nefesh Hashenis Bisrol, Hichelik El Mikami Mal Mamish, שכל אחד מישראל, אחד צדיק, ואחד ראשה, יש לה שתי נפשות, שתי נשומות, and that by everyone, and that I myself have a chelek elokah, it went out of my mind. It shocked me totally. It moved me, shocked me, and changed this concept, changed my whole understanding of what is a Jew and what is the life of the Jew. Was like a revolutionary concept that moved me. Every bacher and every kid in Lubavitch knows it, but they don't take it serious. They don't appreciate it. They don't appreciate what it means to have a chelek elikah mimal mamish in yourself. And what they don't appreciate it, since I didn't know from it before. And I was fulfilling mitzvahs behidur. But even though it mamish was an impact, incredible impact. This was the first thing. The second thing, when I learned, the Eibishter creates every second, creates again from nothing the whole existence. This totally shocked me. I remember the Beis HaMedrash in Ocean Parkway was in the main floor, and the dormitory was upstairs in the third floor. I remember walking the stairs to the dormitory, because this I learned by night, Tanya by night after Seder. I remember walking upstairs the stairs. I was like would have drunk bottle mashke, a whole bottle. I was like shocked, totally shocked. But I want to tell you, together with this, Parshas Vayechi, the Rebbe spoke about Sefer Torah Shel Mashiach. I knew already about Sefer Torah Shel Mashiach because Rabbi Baumgarten told us that the Rebbe said to finish now Vayut Shvat HaGodel Sefer Torah Shel Mashiach. I knew about the whole koch, about Yud Shvat and Mashiach's coming, Bekesher mit Yud Shvat. I knew that about the 20 years, Shimshon, all this I knew a little because I heard from Rabbi Baumgarten, and at least also because the Binyamin Feiland wrote me letters. And on the letters that he wrote me about the whole ruach that's going on in 770 around Yud Shvat and this. And really, what he wrote to me had an impact in me that I said, I want to come before Yud Shvat because I want to be there for Bias HaMoshiach. This,
So you did know something before you came.
I did the basic thing, I think. I knew. Yeah.
So you're saying Vayechi.
Yeah. I want to tell him, Shabbos Parshas Vayechi, the Rebbe spoke about Sefer Shel Mashiach, but he spoke about being Mezake Yidden mit ois, with a letter, to give the opportunity every Jew to be part of the Sefer Torah of Mashiach. And even though I just came to America and I didn't know so well English, I studied a little English because I went to high school in Argentina, but I spoke Spanish, not English. And we went with the other Argentinian boys. We went on the street. I remember Kipshuta on the streets, stopping people, asking them about writing. It was just the first week after the first farbrengen, the second week of my being here, was no shaila, no doubt that I have to do this. Nobody had to talk me in, you have to do this. Was no doubt. You have to go and make people to be part of Sefer Torah. And I felt you are talking here about big things. We're not talking business as usual. Here we are talking about big things.
So you're basically describing the process of how you're becoming a chassid. Like this is all happening. You're picking up the Rebbe. You say this to Ginyanim Chassidus just from being there, and I guess the Yekkishe gave you a bracha that you're able to be in tune to it.
I'll tell you, it took for half a year. I used to daven with a gartel. I came to Lubavitch. I davened with my gartel under the coat, and also I didn't change my minhagim. But I came into Lubavitch. I didn't care what other people do. I did what I believed in. I did it. And I kept my whole minhagim. I davened Nusach Sfard. I put on tefillin not on the Lubavitch way, and I didn't care that other people did it different. I keep my minhagim, and I kept everything. And this was for half a year, a little more than half a year. When I came into Yekkishe the first time, this was Sof Sivan Tovshin Lamet, before my Yom Huledes. Then I decided to change, to become, let's say, a full-fledged Lubavitcher. Yeah. And by Yekkishe, I asked the Rebbe if to change all the minhagim and everything. And the Rebbe answered, if this is a decision for always, I should do it. That means the passage was like a half a year, but the hargoshe of the specialty, the inyan hameyuchet, Sidon Chabad, when I started learning Chassidus, is like it opened me the eyes about the whole Yiddishkeit. It's like a new Yiddishkeit. It's the same Yiddishkeit, but it started shining. Same Yiddishkeit, shining.
Oh. And this is something that you saw in the Rebbe also.
The Rebbe's just way of talking, the hoiroes, the siches, you felt it. You felt there is an expression of Rabbi Berel in the first letters that he wrote to his father when he came, Tovshin Yud. And he said, in the first letters, that he writes to his father, you see that he is a Ish Ruchni. He writes about the Rebbe to his father. And Mamish in the beginning, you see he's a Ish Ruchni. You saw and you felt the Rebbe is different than everything.
Okay. So we're getting close this time of year. We're getting close to Rosh Hashanah, to Tishrei. Is there anything you want to share from the first for the first Tishrei, from maybe from the first Rosh Hashanah, Tkiyas? I don't know. Maybe you can share a little bit about that.
I knew Tkiyas is, and I understood Tkiyas by the Rebbe is something, but I never experienced it. I had to imagine, but I didn't have any clue how it is. And I have to tell you, I was very shy. I wasn't the person asking around and investigating. No, I was very shy. And I was 15 years old, 16 years old. Then I was already 16 years old, yes. And nothing coming from Argentina, here, big city. But I knew that I have to get a good place. I have to catch a good place. And I came very early in the morning, Rosh Hashanah in the morning. And I stood next to the bima, not the first row. I understood that people, the second, third row. It came to the kiosk. I was at the Oren Kodesh. And I wasn't inside the Oren Kodesh because there was a door. If not, I would be inside the Oren Kodesh. That means it was pushed to the end, and I felt so bad. He says, I'm going to be here by the Rebbe, not going to be able to hear anything. See, yes, but not hear anything. Nothing, because I was used, the Rebbe davening for the Omer, the Rebbe davened very
Low.
very
Low.
low, very low. Yes, the same Haftarah. Shabbos Maftir, Haftarah, you had to push the first rows to be able to hear something. And I said, oh, what's going to be here? I'm going to be here and not. Then started Kiyas, started the Posuk. Lam natzeyach livnei keilach mizmeir. It was like, it looked like the Rebbe going out to war. He was going out to war. Lam natzeyach livnei keilach mizmeir. And then all the psukim and the broch. Okay, it was. She going, andere Welt, psukim, the broches, the tkiyas, chulu. Same thing happened. Erev Yom Kippur. Stop shtusim. Erev Yom Kippur, I came for the broch of the Tmimim. When I came, it was already after the broche. I was because nobody told me nothing. Nobody explained me nothing. I came. He says, how come there's nobody here? I said, no, it was already. But anyways,
it's a grinner. You have to figure everything out.
But anyways, mit gelebt mit den farbrengens. Das gewinnt der Iker. Gelebt mit den farbrengens.
Oh, so I want to get into that in a minute. So you already said that you learned in Osha Parkway, and then Morristown, then at 770. So I want to talk about the farbrengens in a minute, but you shared something earlier about your first Yekkishe. Are there other things from the subsequent Yekkishe or answers from the Rebbe that you got when you were a bacher that you would that you can share?
First, from the first Yekkishe, I want to tell you, I was very, how do you say, mtapachat. Went in 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't remember. I felt like, going into the Rebbe. But the Rebbe started speaking with such a love. You felt Poshet the Rebbe embracing you. This is the first Argoshe. Then it wasn't the first year, I think it was maybe the second year or the third year. The Rebbe used to read the Pidyon, the letter, used to read one time, mark things on the side, and then used to come back from the end, going back, and he was answering you. But while he was answering you and reading, his head was down, and the head used to cover, at least by me. You couldn't see clearly the Rebbe's face, because the head was covering most of the face, and the Rebbe was down, the head was down. The Rebbe, at the end of answering everything, the Rebbe picked up his head, the cup, and he looked. Sie gewann a Marse, the Rebbe's face shining. Sie gewann a Marse, Bashiu. It wasn't the Marse of farbrengens, it wasn't Marse, even not the Marse of a Maimer. It was another Marse. And the Rebbe looking at you with such connection and with such love, shining. This is in general. Then, the first Yekkishe, the Rebbe point out, das Avodas Hashem darf sein besimche, das ist eine Nekude, And later years, in 1 year, he said, das, was du schreibst, das kennst nicht, Jens kennst nicht. And that's what he said. Das, was du schreibst, das kennst du nicht, Jens kennst du nicht. Ist wie bald, als es steht, Yogaitu Mozoso, dass ich gesagt geworden auf mir und auf dir und auf allem. Und sie dort der Yogaito muss sein der Mozoso. That's what he said. That's what you write. This you cannot do. The other thing you don't know how to do. But since it's written, you will toil and you will succeed. And this is being said to me, to you, and to everybody. And there is the toiling, definitely there is the succeeding. This is one thing. And then I can tell you the last Yekkishe, one Yekkishe, the first Yekkishe after I already was in Shlichus, I wanted to ask for a blessing, a special blessing for something connected to that sloch of my Shlichus. And I didn't write it because I was ashamed. I was ashamed to ask such thing. The Rebbe gave me the bracha in the words that I taught it. Mamish. I will not tell you what I wanted to ask. But he gave me mamish in the words I thought I wanted to ask. This is one thing. Another thing, it was the last Yekkishe, also in the room. This was Mem Aleph, Mem Beis, those, I wrote a letter
This is when you're on Shlichus already.
Yes. I wrote a letter, and I gave it in 2-3 days before Yekkishe, in order the Rebbe should be able to read it before. I don't have to read it while I'm standing there. When I come in, the Rebbe tells me that he couldn't read the long letter I wrote him if there was any questions there. I didn't answer anything because I'm not going to be talking to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe said then, no, Apes need talking shilas is good. If there is no question, is good. Oder aber gesagt, noch besser, it's better. If sie doch Shilas oder Sveikes, if there are questions or doubts, sollen sie bottled werden. Should they get nullified, discharged. Und sie wird etwas bleiben nach Scheile, if it still remains some kind of a question, wird man dir entfernen b'meshech hazman. We will answer you in the time. This wasn't the last Yekkishe. Yeah.
So what does that story mean?
Everybody can translate what he wants. I think it's clear. The Rebbe's work is, don't waste your time. Be positive, work, do. Don't waste your time with all kinds of questions and analysis ahead, analysis ahead. Yes, I had an answer when I got this whole story, no? When I got married.
I want to get to all of that.
No, but I will tell you what.
Okay.
When I got married, was Yekkishe. It was after Simchas Torah Lamed Ches, Shmiyat Ches Lamed Ches. Yekkishe was the Rebbe was sitting by the door of Gan Eden Elyon with a small table, and he was receiving the panim about giving out tzedakah, dollars for tzedakah. I gave him my pan, my zettel, and an hour and a half after Yekkishe, the Rebbe answered what I wrote, and the Rebbe said, "You are exaggerating in all your negative assessments. You are exaggerating. Yoiser midai. You are exaggerating with an exaggeration. Megazim yoiser midai." Yeah, and he wrote, "You should make use of your capacity of analyzing things in limut Torah, in learning Torah, ubeshlichus be'afotze, and in your shlichus in afotze, v'Hashem itom, and the Rebbe is with you." That means this was the Rebbe's guidance. You have power. Don't use your analysis to see what's wrong. Use your analysis to see how you can build better. And an interesting thing, the Rebbe said, first, Bilimut HaTeira, I was going on to Shlichus. Was the moment I was going on to Shlichus, even like this, he said, first, Limut HaTeira, and then Shlichus on Bafotze.
Okay, Meredith. Were there also answers, like minus, that you received when you were Bacher from the Rebbe? Besides Yekkishe?
No, I was working in the Sichas.
No, but I'm saying personal stuff.
No, because I tell you something. I was after Shmi Atzeres, was in the middle of Cheshvan. I got offer for a Shidduch. And even though not that I was running for a Shidduch, but I also didn't want to be a Iber Chochem as an Argentinian boy, and don't have family here taking care of me, etc., etc. Who knows me? I get an offer. I shouldn't be stupid just to discharge it. And I wrote to the Rebbe. I remember it was 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, got the answer of the Rebbe, because those days the Rebbe was Bechadri HaKedesh in his room, and we were working in Shlichus, in maamorim, in Anoches, by the floor of the Anoches, here next door to 770. Because I got a telephone at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning from Rabbi Klein, Olav Shalom. We have an answer for you. And the answer was, don't think about the Shidduch till you don't finish Yeridea. I finished Yeridea, let's say, Hey Nissen, and Ches Nissen, I got the Shlichus and the Hoyroe for a Shidduch.
Oh. Okay. Wasn't there an answer from the Rebbe, something with the Rebbe took parts of Tanya? Is it with words from Tanya, Shukitz, Masuv? Someone told me it's an answer.
The Rebbe said, don't make too many cheshbenes, Anila Yosisi is Atzmi. You didn't, like Dr. Rebbe said, you didn't make yourself. Yosisi is Atzmi. Then you have to, he said, you have to be happy, to be ushpezichna lishchine, in order to through limut haTorah. Things like this, yes.
Yeah, I don't understand exactly what you're saying, but maybe.
No, what do you mean you don't understand?
It sounds like there's more, but
yeah. No, he said when different things, you know. You said when you have some thought that brings in you some kind of chalishus, of weakness, think that you are a Shliach of Rabbi Seinu Nesienu. This the Rebbe told me when I was a bocher. What did I?
In Yekkishe.
Yeah, Yekkishe as a bocher. The Rebbe told me, since, like you write here in the zettel, that you teach Shiurei Chassidus, because I used to go Thursday night to teach Chassidus, the Shiurei Chassidus from Tzach, from Meir Ranes, Olav Shalom, yeah. And they say, since you write here that you teach Chassidus, Tutinafot Samayanas, you are a Shliach of Rabbi Seinu Nesienu, you should think about this. And when you have any weakness, you feel weak in yourself. Das sie gewähren. Rebbe said like the Rebbe said, Avoid das hat viele Daftake sein. But don't be meirich mit ibrike ariches in all the in negative things.
So Avedis Hatzila shouldn't be spent on the
Cheshbon HaNefesh.
Well, Simcha or whatever.
Yeah. He said with Anigen, Avedis hat viele Daftake sein. But not the Cheshbon HaNefesh, the Rebbe said, the Cheshbon HaNefesh da sein beitim kvuim umetzumtzomim, fixed and limited times, und der Sachakil darf sein, lehisif in Avidas Hashem mit ich simche. Der Sachakil von der Cheshbon darf sein, to add in Avidas Hashem mit ich simche. The since Avidas Hashem is the whole day, because even kol masechol Hashem shamayim chol drochecha do'eyu, everything what you do has to be with a kavanah von avodas Hashem. That means you could be besimcha the whole day.
Okay. Anything else before I move on?
Okay, you could. You're going about the Shlichus. Okay, go into Shlichus, then I tell you.
No. Okay, fine. So let's stop. Let's go backwards. So you mentioned to me that the Rebbe's farbrengens was your life and the integral component of being there. Gelebt mit them, no? So maybe tell me a little bit about that, and then I'll ask you about the Hanachas. So maybe tell me about the Rebbe's farbrengens.
Every farbrengen was Iberlebenish. I don't know how to.
It's good. You can keep it. No?
Yeah. Was every farbrengen was a Iberlebenish. The whole, every siche, the hoiroes and the way and the biurim, and we didn't just. I talk those that we heard the siches like with Rabbi Shalom Charitonov, soll sein gesund. We used to talk over the farbrengen later, like we were standing also on the details that the Rebbe said. This Chiddush. Sometimes people take just the global idea, but in the Rebbe's, when you listen good, the Rebbe's farbrengens, first of all, you have to take the global idea, no question. You have to take the global idea. But later on, every concept, every word is a whole inyan. But we felt how the Rebbe is putting in so much new thing, lichtige Sachen, shiny things. Some a Wort ist da reingeworfen, da im Mitten und da ein Wort im Mitten. And then also how the Rebbe, like Rabbi Shalom used to say, the Rebbe hat übergekehrt ganz sederisch Talschalis. So it's like, we felt every farbrengen wasn't just the Rebbe saying a psanikude. The Rebbe was going through the whole sederish Talshalis, was and shaping the whole sederish Talshalis and giving you a cooking all sederish Talshalis. This was like you came into farbrengen. It's like you came to. We're going now to hear a new world. We were like coming. Chadoshim mamish. Es ist nicht gewesen etwas Chadoshim. Es ist nicht gewesen a routine. Okay, noch ein Wort. No, nein. We're coming here to a historical one-time event, an unique event, and that's the way we heard. We were anxiously waiting to the farbrengen, and when the Rebbe was speaking, this is what we used to take and appreciate everything the Rebbe said. But I have to clarify that those days, till Tovshin Lamed Vov, wasn't like it was after Lamed Vov. Allah has come and come, not like today. Those days, to hear a tape of the Rebbe, I wanted to chazara, remember, I wanted to chazara for Yud Shvat farbrengen. I got somebody that had the tape, and I had to go to his house and sit there the whole day to hear the farbrengen, because he wouldn't let me take the tape with me out of the house. Okay, this wasn't a problem. I just want to tell you, today you have everything. The farbrengens used to come out weeks, months, or years after the Rebbe said it. It's not today, like or after Lamed Vov, and it started coming right after Shabbos. I remember a mimer. 4 weeks later, between you and me, who will learn the mimer 4 weeks later? And how it was, and also you didn't have this forum of Chassidus that the maamorim were built on, that you could be me'ayin. jede Wort, die gewinnen a pearl, a treasure than you could have. It's not today. Today you have everything put, organized. You can hear it, you can read it, you can read it in English, you can read it in Hebrew, you can read it in Yiddish, Libre Haraf, mit Biuri Maher und mit Mare Mekemes und das. Es ist eine andere Welt im Ganzen. That's why I want to tell you, to appreciate the Shure, it's not like Stalin and Farbrengen today. Stalin and Farbrengen today, sure you can appreciate it. If you don't do it, you're just, I don't know what words to use. Then you need a big yekkishe. You need a yekkishe. You need to come to chazara, to come to chazara, and to make sure that you understand. Chochika, general word, epis word, sie gewähnen jede Sache gewähnen kemoitze sholol rov. And that is what made me, I have to engrave in myself what the Rebbe is speaking. I'm here, I have to know what the Rebbe is speaking. This is what I forced myself to remember what the Rebbe says and to concentrate and to have and to pick up what the Rebbe says. You cannot have the feeling how it was then, der Leben mit der Farbrengen, wie sie es heint. Aber sie gewinnen eine Scheile und sie gewinnen ein Entfer. Der Koch, was sie gewinnen in dem. Der Ium, was sie gewinnen in dem. And I want to tell you, I regret it, but you know, I cannot do anything today about it. I regret all the things that we didn't ask the Rebbe then. The Rebbe was for us. The Rebbe gave himself to us. We didn't make use of all the Rebbe was giving us. Why? Because we were afraid. Because
you're referring to when you were writing Hanachas, and then you were able to answer Rebbe Shailas.
Yes. We thought the chutzpah, what you're writing was, but it really was a mistake. It was a big mistake.
Okay, 1 second. So, how did you get involved in Hanach? I mean, it sounds like because you were being Misiageya and the Rebbe Farbrengens, you were a good candidate. But what actually happened?
I went to chazara, and after chazara, I started writing a little for myself. And I also, by chazara, I put a word here, I put a word in, and then I was helping the other people that were writing the anoches. It was a natural. Ich habe sich reingestupt, nicht reingestupt, it was natural. Used to go to Rabbi Berel in the house to hear the chazara after the farbrengen. Until it came, I mean, the other ones that were used to be writing, hat chasene gehat, and they hold up just a little time after the chasene, and then they asked me, no, do you want to go continue writing? Okay. It was a natural thing. It was not.
So you wrote Shlichus and
no, my mother. I didn't write Shlichus.
Okay, so let me ask you about that, because as someone who watches and listens to the farbrengens, my maamorim are still, that's a good. You have to really, really focus, be able to understand a maamer, to transcribe it and to make a hanacha from it. Now, I don't know if even all of the people that wrote the Shlichus were capable of writing maamorim. I don't know. So, what is the process of understanding a maamer, of transcribing a maamer from the Rebbe? Maybe you can talk about that a little bit.
No, you had the maamer. You made a basic seder of the maamer right after the Rebbe said the maamer. You on your head, you made some kind of a seder, what it was, and what, yeah. And the Meiker also, we had the chazaras and the Shlichus of Rabbi Berel, that he had clarity in the maamer, gave us the kaf in the maamer. It's really the Shlichus of Rabbi Berel. Yes, we added avot dorten, but the main, let's say, the chut hashedro, the spinal, I don't know how to say it.
Spine.
Yeah.
Like spinal cord.
Yes. This was Rabbi Berel's chazara. Even that he wasn't chazaring, but he was listening to somebody else saying it, but he was organizing it, putting. Even he didn't write the maamorim, but he was the spinal. I'm talking on the Shabbos farbrengens or Yom farbrengens
Tape.
without a tape. Or you had also the writing of the reshimas on the second day of Yom Tov. They used to write reshimas b'shatz ma'aser. The Rebbe was speaking. They were writing.
Right.
Yes. And then you had the tapes. But I have to tell you, whoever listens to a tape, not because he listens to a tape means that he can understand the mimer. We had to, however, very much to understand what the Rebbe wanted to say, how the Rebbe built it, what was the connection to one part to the other part. It was a hard, not because you had a tape, you knew, even you had the typed word by word, doesn't mean that you understood what the Rebbe was saying. You had
And this is specifically maamorim as opposed to
yes,
Shlichus.
yes. No, there were maamorim, there were clearly, no. Because sometimes in maamorim, the Rebbe used to say a few words, very bekitzur, and it meant the whole inyan, that you had to understand the whole inyan to see the connection to what is being said before, what is the build-up.
Mm-hmm.
This like the Meile Niflo from Rabbi Berel, that he understood the maamorim.
Right. Okay. So was there something specific happening in your times, like a chiddush in the way the maamorim were being produced? Like was there something new, or are you just continuing with what had happened before?
The way they were produced, Shinui gewähnt legabe maamorim kemes, man hat angefangen schreiben maamorim kemes unten, and then the Rebbe said to write maamorim kemes ze achar ze, not ze tachar ze, in order you don't have to write one under the other one. But
what is that? What's the two
Mare
ways?
McCamus, you don't have to write the Mare McCamus, because it started giving out with Mare McCamus, the Shlichus and the maamorim. It was lately, yeah. And even the Bilti Muga I'm talking.
Right.
Before, the Bilti Muga didn't have Mare McCamus under. And the Rebbe said, you can write one after the other. You don't have to write one under the other. You can put the one and next to it the two and next to it the three. They put it one in one shuret, two in the second line, and three in the third line. But I want to tell you what happened with in Lamed Zayin, in Bossi Legan Lamed Zayin, were different things that happened. One thing that happened was that Rabbi Groner came out from the Rebbe's room, and he brought the books that the Rebbe gave him from each one of Rabbi Seinu Nesienu with a paper inside that he should have all the mentions in the places of Rabbi Seinu Nesienu, what he mentioned, but he came out from the Rebbe's room with the books in the hand, and he gave it to me, the books. Before the Rebbe used to write it. Baal Shem Tov, this book in this place. Looks like in this time the Rebbe even didn't have the time to write it, and he sent out the books that he used with a paper inside, and sent out all the books. And then we wrote in a Hanoch. It was two maamorim. It was a maamorim by day and a maamorim Motzei Shabbos, Yitzvat. And we sent in the Hanoch from by day, with a shaila, with a question. Or even we didn't send the anoche yet. No, we just sent in the anoche. We just sent in the question. And the Rebbe first, the Rebbe wrote, we so machen von beide maamorim ein maimer. The central maimer should be the maimer of Motzei Shabbos, shenemar bepirsum yeiser, more in public, yeah. And this maimer should be the basis. And the hoisofes v'shinuyim, the addings and changes of from the mimer by day, we should put either in brackets in the mimer or under the line. And we choose to put it under the line. That's the way we organize the mimer. But we didn't understand that the Rebbe wanted to be Magia the mimer. No, we didn't understand. Because those years, the Rebbe wasn't Magia Maimorim. Lamed Hey was Magia. Lamed Hey, after a long time, from Lamed Beis, Lamed Aleph, the Rebbe was Magia der Ach Begoirol, and then Tzien Bamishpot. And later on, we found in the Rebbe's room also the Yom Tov Yisrael. Lamed Hey was also Muga, but he didn't give it out. And then Lamed Vov was a Maimer also that he was Muga B'Shas Maise, but unexpected. And Lamed Zayin, in those days, nobody dreamt the Rebbe Magia Maimorim. Nobody dreamt. And only special occasions, Mamish. We prepared the Maimer. The Rebbe was Magiait, yeah. But the question was, we had a question that the Rebbe brought from every one of the Rabbeim. And he brought from the Rebbe Marash, the Kocho, from Rebbe Marash, that there are three madregas in Teire, Yerusho, Yegio, and Matone. Three madregas in Teire. And he explained it in the Maimer what it is. And we asked the Rebbe, the explanation the Rebbe gave on the Maimer was different. What means Yerusha, different than what the Rebbe Marash says. The Rebbe is entitled to say what he wants, but he said it in the name of Rebbe Marash. That's why we asked. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, we were stupid. But the Rebbe answered, we should write the way the Rebbe Marash says, Ubenegia l'Hashemim sheyichil, Ubenegia the people that heard the Maimer, how it says, Keshem sheinem yedim habiur, kanire me'anal, the same way they don't understand the explanation, how this comes together with the Rebbe Marash, according to your question. Yeah, that's asking such that this is not what the Rebbe Keshem sheinem hadiyom, kach vet ze nitfel, they will not miss anything if they don't know about the whole thing. Why were we stupid? Because we had to understand. If we could put the Rebbe Marash says like this, and they put the Rebbe is obliged. The Rebbe added to something, but since we were Tmimus Dike Bochrim, he mentioned Rebbe Marash, and he said, that's why I said we did some stupidities. We did some stupidities there. There was another mimer of Rish Chodesh Nisan, and the mimer speaks different madrigas about the mile of Rish Chodesh Nisan, etc. And we asked that we see there is no compatibility in the mimer. And the Rebbe answered, this is the whole concept of the mimer.
There's no compatibility with the mimer that's Musadan?
No. In the same mimer, first he says that Nisan, Rish Chodesh Nisan is this, then he said another way of Rish Chodesh Nisan. This doesn't come together. The Rebbe said, Maimer Teuchnoi, the ganze Teuchen von the Maimer is to show the Reish Chidush Nissen Lemailo mehavaye from Lemailo mehavaye bis the niedrigste Madrege to show always what is the union of Chidush Nissen. I mean, we had a Shaila. You're talking here, things not compatible. This is the whole Maimer. The idea was to show how Reish Chidush Nissen goes all over the Madreges. I mean, then there was the Maimer of Yud Gimel Tishrei. The Maimer Yud Gimel Tishrei Lamed Ches. There was Magia Hashana Rabbe Lamed Ches. Yeah. Also, the Maimer came out
right before the heart attack.
Yes, in the morning. The Rebbe the Rebbe went into the sukkah with the Maimer and came out with from the sukkah and gave out the Maimer. And the Maimer was even zugeklebt. I don't say zugeklebt. Attached a piece of cake. That means the Rebbe was eating Mezoines found Avnen while he was Magia the Maimer, and the piece of Mezoines was attached. Come over and I took the piece and I ate it. But and he gave out the Maimer. When we received the Maimer, we were not sure the Rebbe was Magia, not Magia. I mean, the Rebbe was Magia, but it wasn't like a normal prepared Maimer. We had doubts, but we didn't want to ask.
It wasn't heavily muga like usual.
It wasn't heavily, but it was. It had Hagoy. Because in Shmeis Lamed Zayin, it was a Maimer, Eile Shmeis, where the Rebbe was Magia, a whole part, with a strong Hagoy, but he put on top of it Bilti Muge. That's why the Maimer came out, the word Hanoche Nekude Bilti Muge. We made a difference from other Maimorim. Hanoche, point. Bilti Muge. The Rebbe said Bilti Muge, but the Rebbe, that's why we were afraid. But here the Rebbe didn't say it, Bilti Muge. Mm-hmm. We had what we did do. We sent it in like for Hagoe, like a Maimer Muge, but just added the word Hanoche. The Rebbe didn't add the word Hanoche. The Rebbe didn't add the word Hanoche. We could have not put the word Hanoche also, but we were afraid. So we added the word Hanoche. And then the Rebbe, when he writes, HaChochem Nikar, B'macholi, B'mishtoi, the Rosh Rambam, that the Chochem is being recognized on his attitude and behavior, how he eats, how he drinks, how he does business, etc., etc. On the word HaChochem, the Rebbe added Hagoe and adding Ksaviyat Kedesh, Chochem, Leiv Chochem Liyamini. The heart of the wise is on the right side with the Maremokim.
This was in the first Hagoah.
Was in the second Hagoah, I think.
So this is on Hashanah Rabbah.
Yes. After what happened, we understood why the Rebbe
after the heart
wanted to put something about the heart. He would put in the Maimer something about his heart to be mechazik the heart to I don't know, but it was clearly because it wasn't something that gives you a special explanation in the Maimer, add something in the understanding of the Maimer.
So leave
Then
Chacham
there's
and
another mimer, the Eila Mishpotim, Topshin Lamed Ches, where the Rebbe speaks about the Evet Knaini, and he asks, he says, he brings from the Tzemach Tzedek, or from the Alter Rebbe's mimer, or from Tzemach Tzedek, a whole, the Evet Knaini could be a Beinon Yechid. And the Rebbe asked a question, how could be Evet Kraini? Evet Kraini is there that Befkeiro Nichale. And the Rebbe touched up, he's Nichale. He's Nichale, that means his satisfaction is Efkeres. And how could you say somebody that Hefkeiro Nichale, his satisfaction, his Nichale, is Efkeres, he should be a Beinani. And the Rebbe put a lot of work into it in the Hagoeh, and in the second Hagoeh again, how Midas HaBeinani, the whole piece of Tanya there, Midas HaBeinani, Achareo Kol Odom Yimsheich, Midas Afilu Mitzat Medide VeHakbole, Yimsheich Miloshin Osi to Loshin Haftoche, very, very strong the Rebbe put in there. For a few shuras.
Okay.
Then another interesting thing I can tell you was Lamed Zayin Bossi Legani. Besides Lamed Zayin Bossi Legani, what was Lamed Zayin so special? Lamed Zayin was the year the Rebbe was 75 years old. And were 3 maamorim after Bossi Legani, Lamed Zayin, later on was Hineni Mamtir, Shabbos B'Shalach. Then was a third maimer, I think it was also to Bishvat, the third maimer, I don't remember, or the Yisrei, maybe Yisrei. In the 3 maamorim, the Rebbe added a posik of his Peirik. He was 75 years old. It wasn't usual, the Rebbe adding things to maamorim bilti mugoyim.
Yeah.
The Rebbe added, and in one of the maamorim added like 6-7 shuras with the biur on the posik, on the posuk of his Peirik. This was very interesting that Rebbe, on 3 maamorim, he added Ksav Yad Kodesh, a biur on this posik when he was 75 years old in the Tkufe from Yud Shvat. I don't know if people not notice these things.
I don't think people even knew what the Rebbe added. Shaita, right? Only you people knew.
Yeah, but I think we pointed out, I think. We make a point of it. But, okay, he had it once. But you see, 3 maamorim in Kuf of Yud Shvat, when he's 75 years old, make a point of it. It's not...
It's not what?
It's not stam.
Yeah.
Das ist the ganze Wort. Sometimes we have a Yetzer Hara, with the Nefesh Habamis, with an Amalek. We take things, cold. Everything is mekuven betachlis.
Okay. Are there any other maamorim that you want to highlight right now?
At this moment, I don't remember. Can highlight something different. It was on Erchetzo has to do with a Maimer, but wasn't in the time that I was writing maamorim. It was already when I was on Shlichus. I was here at Tes Kislev. It was a farbrengen. And the next day, I traveled back to Argentina. I came to, I don't know why I came to Duke in this, something to do with my work of fundraising, I don't know. And I wrote into the Rebbe, And the time going back, and the Rebbe wrote me back, Betach lo kachitei harashima de amaymer de esmil. Shul, you took it yourself, you took with you the Rishima of yesterday's Maimer. That means it wasn't a Maimer mit Heureus, war a Fotz. Es ist gewesen ein chassidischer Maimer von Tes Kislev. And I came here for fundraising. You surely took with yourself the Hanoche of Nechtike Maimer.
Shlichus.
Yeah. Sei roi von jeder einer, aber darf dich kochen mit dem maamorim für Rebbe.
Okay. Hopefully everything you just said will add to that. So you were doing the maamorim till your chasana, basically.
Yeah.
So maybe you could tell me a little bit about your Shidduch and your Shlichus, and I think they're connected, right? You already alluded to it. Maybe you can tell me what happened over there.
Rabbi Baumgarten of Asholem used to travel in the Argentinian summer to Israel to visit his parents, to London to visit his daughter, and then used to come to New York to visit another daughter, and mainly to be by the Rebbe. Topshin Lamed Ches, Oder Aleph, he arrived on Friday morning in London, and he had ACV, a cerebral incident. How do you say?
Like a heart?
Shebetz mochi.
Oh, a stroke.
A stroke. He had a stroke, and he passed away from this stroke. And before even he came to New York, he was brought to New York. He's buried behind the Rebbe a little, yeah. And Rabbi Klein called another bocher and me to Rabbi Chodakov, and Rabbi Chodakov told us to take care of the things that Rabbi Baumgarten was taking care, especially about matzahs, to make sure that in Argentina it's going to be hand matzah for Pesach, because Rabbi Baumgarten was bringing every year hand matzah, and he used to bring also other kosher products for matzah, oil, for Pesach, oil, other things, potato starch. And we asked his son, Rabbi Baumgarten, so lang sein gesund und stark, and he said that everything is taken care, is going to be matzahs. Okay, but that means already before the Levi came to New York, the Rebbe was already diagoning what's going to be with Rabbi Baumgarten's position as Shliach in Argentina. By the way, Motzei Shabbos, before the program of Chassidus of Rabbi Weinberg of Hasholem, the Rebbe, I think, called Moshe Pinchas Katz, I think it was. He was also part of the VAT for Nafotza Chassidus in the radio. And the Rebbe gave him money and told him that he wants to sponsor the program of Motzei Shabbos, Leinu Nishmas of Rabbi Baumgarten. Now, going back, after the Levi and everything, Rabbi Chodakov told me to get in contact with Anash in Buenos Aires. It used to be, let's say, between 5 and 10 Anash families in Buenos Aires then, to get in contact with them and to see if they have somebody to suggest to come in place of Rabbi Baumgarten. And they gave I went to Rabbi Chodakov, and I told him that they suggested me to come as a shliach. Okay, Rabbi Chodakov told me, okay, write to the Rebbe if you are ready to take the position. I wrote to the Rebbe, very straight, asking that I'm ready. If this and this, then I'm ready to take this. If the Rebbe wants it, and if the Rebbe wants it, and I'm capable for it, I'm ready to give myself over to the Shlichus. And the Rebbe surrounded all the words. The Rebbe wants it. The Rebbe wants it, and I am capable. You surrounded the whole thing. And in the same letter, when I wrote that I was proposed to write in to the Rebbe, I said that I know that the Rebbe wants somebody to be in kehillah the whole year. Besides the point, I even don't have a color. I don't have a wife. How can I go to Shlichus? I wrote this, and the Rebbe answered, "Yechapes Shidduch, v'yisol Shlichus." Look for a Shidduch. Besides that, he surrounded the whole other words. He puts Yechapes Shidduch, v'yisol Shlichus. And then about what I wrote, the Rebbe wants to be in kehillah a year after the marriage. The Rebbe wrote, "Kan shoine." Here is different. Okay. Then
So now you have to find the Shidduch. Now you have to find the Shidduch.
Yeah. This was I had to find a Shidduch, and went through 3 days. I didn't have any normal offer, any proper offer. I wrote into the Rebbe, don't have any proper offer. Already 3 days, the Rebbe told me to get a Shidduch. And the Rebbe gave me a broche, acclimated. He laughed, but he said, acclimated. And the same day, I got from 3 names the Shidduch of my wife.
From three different people.
Yeah. It was a whole Ashgoche Protis about it also. Anyways, Mamish Ashgoche Protis about the Shidduch. And this was, and then I wrote into the Rebbe, Yutalef Nissen, I got from the Rebbe Lisanyan, Chalamoid Pesach. I met my wife first time. Since it was Pesach, we met in her house. And Dalet Ior was already the word. That means from Yud Aleph Nisan till Dalet Ior took the place the whole thing of the preparation of the Shidduch. Okay, I was going on the Rebbe's places. My wife was 19 years old, never heard about Argentina. And here she had to decide a Shidduch, go to Argentina on Shlichus. In one decision, everything. She says she didn't have any doubt. She wanted Shlichus. Was no doubt by her group of friends. You go to Shlichus. No doubt about it. She was 19 years old, and she accepted the whole thing, the whole package. Okay. After the Rebbe answered both for the Shidduch, and after in the answer, when we wrote about when making the chasana, etc., and the Rebbe said, "Iso lesham koidem chasana," should go already to Argentina before the wedding, v'yachzer lekan le'achasana, and come back here for the chasana. And the Rebbe took care of the ticket. He paid for the ticket. And I asked the Rebbe, I'm getting married. Vov Tammuz was the marriage. And we were here. I was traveling, Take, Vov Ior, Zayin Ior, I was traveling to Argentina.
What year is this?
Lamed Ches.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked the Rebbe if, since I'm traveling to Shlichus before the wedding, I have to learn before the wedding, if I have a reshus to take from my Shlichus 2 hours a day, 1 hour for Nigle and 1 hour for Shlichus, for Chassidus. And then I also ask, and how should I organize my Sidri Alimut when I am ready on Shlichus?
When you married.
Kavua. And the first thing the Rebbe answered, Koposhut, obvious you can take the 2 hours and learn. And Benigia later, the Rebbe answered, Yachlit be'agia hazman, decide when time comes. When I received the answer, really, I felt like the Rebbe didn't answer me. Yachlit be'agia hazman, you decide. Like the Rebbe pulled himself out. He doesn't want to take achrayus of my learning. He doesn't want to say, and then I don't fulfill. I don't know why the Rebbe said like this. But like he removed himself from the union. That's what I felt as a gross idiot in this moment. But really, with time I understood this was the answer. When you are a shlichus, you have to decide. There are moments when you have more time. There are moments you don't have time. There are moments that you need it. You need it. And you have to make time. It's not something that is, how do you say, kovua b'masmeris. It's not nailed how to do it. Every situation is different. Every moment, a situation is different. That's what the Rebbe said. You will have to decide, because it is not, I cannot give you one kaf for always. The kaf for always is you take decision when to learn, how to learn. Mm-hmm. My wife, my wife stayed in New York for the Chasana, and I was coming back 2 weeks before the Chasana. 1 week before the Chasana, and 1 week before, because I barely saw my wife at all. Because I saw her first time Yud Aleph Nisan, and Zayin, Vov Yor, Zayin Yor already traveled. How many times did I see her? I came a week at least, 2 weeks before the Chasana to see her again. Anyways, came Shavuos, and was Yekkishe Klolis already started. Yekkishe Klolis then, after Shavuos, also the Rebbe sitting on it in Atachten, by the door, receiving the panim, giving the dollars. And a friend of my wife that was getting married was going on Yekkishe. And Rabbi Klein tells my wife, are you going on Yekkishe tonight? And my wife said, no. Why? He said, no, why not? I'm going to go into Yekkishe when my chosen comes. I'm going to go a bracha for chasana alone. I go to a bracha together with my chosen. When he comes back, okay, it's going to be Sheva brachas. You'd be Tammuz. You got to be married Vov Tammuz. You'd be Tammuz. And the end of the Sheva brachas, we will go into Yekkishe. Rabbi Klein said, you go in today, and then you go again. The Kitzur, the Seder was, that first went all the Hasanim, and then went all the Kalas. When my wife came in front of the Rebbe took a pack of dollars, looked at her, put the pack of dollars down, took a bigger pack of dollars, and gave it to her. After the Yekkishe, my wife asked around. No, she received $5 from the Rebbe, and she asked. She saw $5 is a pretty good number. She didn't hear that the Rebbe gives out $5 or less, and she asked to other girls those times. All the girls were friends of the same kid. I mean, it wasn't a huge oilum from the whole world. It was ask. Everybody got three. Only $3. She got $5. What happened was that when she told me she's going into Yekkishe, I told her I have to get prepared, because when you are going to go there, I'm also going to be there, b'machshove, berotzen. I'm not going. I also want. I'm going to be with you, b'machshove. I'm going with you in Yekkishe. And we explained. We understood that the Rebbe gave my wife $5 because she also gave for me, because even though the Rebbe didn't ask her name, there were the whole shul of girls. She went through, when the Rebbe looked at her, he already had the dollars in the hand, put it down, and took more.
Amazing. Okay, so then you had the chasana, the Taka went again, Sheva Brachas. That's what happened.
Yeah. And then happened what I told you, the story of Megazim Ubeyeser.
That was...
Yeah, this was by the Yekkishe then.
So then you went as a couple to Argentina.
Yeah.
So what happened going to Argentina?
What happened was that the Rebbe first gave us a Shliach mitzvah, and he also gave me pesos, Argentinian pesos, 3,000 Argentinian pesos he gave me. That really, these pesos were not already in
circulation.
And they were already changed, because they had on top of them, they had a stamp changing their value. That means was already changed one time the value, and then was out of circulation. But that means the Rebbe had these dollars from a long time ago. He kept the dollars, gave it to me, $3,000, 3,000 pesos, with 3 bills. Each bill was 1,000 pesos. And he gave me $5. When we stood next to the door of Gan Eden Atachten.
So you went together this time?
Yes. We went together to receive the bracha for going out on the Shlichus, yeah. And we're standing there. The Rebbe came out from Mincha, and he saw us, and he said, soll sein gute Psudes, soll fahren Gesundheit. And first of all, the normal way the Rebbe used to say was, fort Gesundheit, man soll haben gute Psudes. Man soll haben Psudes Teves. I traveled a lot of times. Always the Rebbe used to say, fort Gesundheit, man soll haben Psudes Teves. This time the Rebbe said, first, man soll haben gute Psudes, man soll fahren Gesundheit. He said it verkehrt, and he said everything in Yiddish. Different than always. The second thing, the Rebbe pressed every word he said. He didn't speak fluent. Was stressing every word. After this, I told my wife something is happening. Khalifa, we took the plane. The plane was supposed to make, let's say, till Buenos Aires, two stops in the middle. The Meise made 3 stops and took time, etc. I arrived to Chile. Already late morning. Was supposed to arrive early morning and right away to come to Buenos Aires, Mamshich to Buenos Aires. But arrived late morning and people started complaining. But before I forgot something, and they said, our plane is leaving 9 o'clock at night. People started complaining. We came late here. Then we have the whole day in Chile. 9 o'clock at night, we have to leave. People started complaining. Then was a military regime in Chile. And they controlled the airports and everything. And also the company was a national company, in Chile. And I told my wife, what do they think? They can plan it out. They say like this, like this. I mean, what you are talking also 48 years ago. What you complaining to the people in the company? They said the plane is going out at 9 o'clock. It's going out at 9 o'clock. What can you do? Lemaise, half an hour later, they call up all passengers of this flight of LAN Chile, go boarding. What happened? We're boarding? Okay. Looks like the tinus of Gatep's effect. We're boarding. We went out on a plane of another company called Aero Peru. And we went on this flight, like 1 o'clock. We went on top, yeah. We arrived in Buenos Aires 2:30. When we arrived in Buenos Aires, they say the luggage is not here. Why? Because they transferred some of the passengers. All the passengers, they already went to eat. They sat down to eat. They stayed there already. Said, okay, we're going tonight. Okay. Those that were waiting just there went into Aero Peru, and they only transferred a few passengers, half of the passengers, let's say, and without the luggage. Okay, came to Buenos Aires. We say, okay, we will wait for the luggage. Wait for the luggage. We didn't go back to the city because go back city is 1 hour, come back is another hour, again an hour. Okay, we stayed there, wait there for the luggage. It was like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. People come running into the airport. What happened? The plane fell down. Plane coming from China fell down. I told the guy, you are joking. He says, no, it's true. What happened was...
There's passengers on it.
And here, listen. The plane, I don't know why, went down 2 kilometers before the airport and got into the trees. There is a field next to the airport, and he got stuck in the trees of the sode. What happened was that since the plane was half empty because half of the passengers went in the prior flight of Aero Peru, they all had time to jump from the plane. It was not one casualty. Not one casualty. And right after the people jumped down, the whole plane went on flames. And I have in my house the paper, the newspaper, big headlines. By miracle, was no how do you say, catastrophe. Not one person died. Not one person. Sie gewähren, der Rebbe, Tag früher, allein gehabt, jedes Wort. Sie gewähren also klar. Ist bei Kitzer,
You had no luggage.
no luggage. But it's given the
So most people say they came with the sack on their back. You came without a sack on your back.
No, I had it on the back.
Okay, fine. But
Yeah, I had it on the back. Yeah, because I had all the ksovim of the maamorim, mugoim, that I had kisveyat and answers with me. I wanted to send it in the luggage. And my brother came and says, you don't send this on the luggage, you take this in the head. This is what's the difference in the head of the luggage. What's the difference between the hand of the luggage? Also the Shabbos candles, the Shabbos leichter that I brought for the Chasana, all these things we had in our hands. All the precious things that you cannot recover, we had in our hands. And what happened was, okay, I met a nurse, I met a lawyer for these kinds of accidents. One time I saw him, not before and not after, only one time, and he told me, and the kuda, that what the companies want to pay is according to some kind of value of the gold, and that this is not legally right. You have to request. They should pay you according to London, the value of the gold in London. And when the vice president came and he started telling me, we're going to give you this. I told him, no, but you have to give me this. This is okay. What did you have inside? I told him, but I just got married. The kids said they gave me $7,000. With this $7,000, we paid to buy an apartment. And my father and my mother-in-law, they both gave us the money to buy again all the things in America, and then we got it here. But the kids, next morning, I called up Rabbi Chodakov, I told him what happened, and the Rebbe's answer was, noch as Rebbe wird man reich. This was the Rebbe's answer.
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting that the Rebbe didn't make any fuse of it, made any, like forget about it and keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make from it the whole story.
Right. Other Rebbe, vet reich.
Metake is reich. It's take reich.
Okay, so tell me about, so what were you doing there? What was the Shlichus? What did he do then in those early years?
Oh. Now, first of all, I tell you something. I'm not going, let's change a little Seder. A month later, after we arrived, a few parents came to us, asking us we should start a girls' seminary, a high school. Why? Because these girls were learning in a Besiakov school in Buenos Aires, and here used to be there are elections here in the Yekkishe kehillah. And there are also, like in Israel, you have the different parties, the same parties you have in Argentina, also for the Yekkishe kehillah. And you had in the Haredische, given two parties. And these girls didn't work for the party of the school. They worked for another Haredische party.
It's like a party in the government?
No, in the kehillah.
In the kehillah, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And there was a rabbi. He was a big misnaget. He threw out all the girls that didn't help for this party. And the parents of these girls came to us and told us they were connected more to Chabad, those parents. They have some connection to Chabad, Rabbi Baumgarten. We should open a high school for the girls, 15 girls. I wrote into the Rebbe, and the Rebbe gave me an answer, a gewaltig answer. The Rebbe answered me like this: Tchilas Avidosoi, your starting point in your work, between brackets, Shona Rishoina, the first year, Lebases, Lechazek uleharchif, to put good fundament, base, strong base, make strong and amplify Inyone Chabad Kayom Imanato. The things that Chabad has in Argentina, they already existing. Ubeoifen Mesudor, and the word Mesudor underlined, that means everything well organized. And the Rebbe gave me to understand that he wants me to build up an organized institution, not just a Chassidish or chulu. I should start a new way of work of Chabad in Argentina in a well-organized institutional way. And then the Rebbe wrote, Moiset Misukana, Bedarkei Noyam. No, this is the first thing is to the basis the Chazak Argentina Chabad Akel Matato, Beifen Mesudor, yeah. And then he wrote, Velichboish, Das HaKol, to conquer public opinion, Bedarkei Noyam, Bedarkei Sholem, on a agradable, I would say, on a pleasant and peaceful way. Then he wrote, Meset Misukanal, an institution of this type, we're talking about 15 girls. Meset Misukanal, Yidrish, Riv Simas Libo Yuzmanai, will demand from you the majority of your attention and your time. And also he wrote that this is also connected to machlokes. No, it has to be devoted lehanal to what I wrote you before, between brackets, bisus akayom.
So it's going to be a distraction.
Yeah.
From your shlichus.
Yes. And when he wrote me everything that Darkenem, Darkesholem, at the end he wrote, Heipechanal, conquering public opinion, the unpleasant way with Darkenoyam is opposite of going and open an institution because they threw out the girls, you go and you open another institution. This is not the way the Rebbe wants you to work. This for me is a fundamental mamish kaf line. Things has to be mebusosim, good, solid base. Not do things, has to be solid, has to be a base, has to be strong. Yeah. And then the Rebbe told me, even you don't do things b'derech hagav. You have 15 girls receiving education. You have to put yourself into it. You don't do it b'derech hagav. 15 girls talking 48 years ago. It's another way. It's not like today. that is a fine like Meidlach, Tznius like Meidlach, we don't have the problems. We didn't have the problems that we have today. Rebbe said, no. You chinuch, type of chinuch, you have to put yourself inside. You don't do it. Kelach. And also the Rebbe, Beifin Mesudor, I'm still working on it to do things well organized. I didn't accomplish it yet. Okay, why did I say this? You asked me what did I do at the beginning. When I came here, there was some Inyone Chabad, were things that Rabbi Baumgarten did before. I had first of all to take. I remember I just came Erev Rosh Chodesh off, started Shiurim, and there was the whole Beiram Tzori, Tzim B'Mishpoti Pode, V'Shabbos Tzedoko, Chassidus, in learning Chassidus, Bekesher mit Chul Beis Hamikdash, was already the whole campaigns that started already in the Lamets, and we were already Lamet Ches, was a lot. And then started Mivtzoim, going with the people, going with those people close to Anash and Anash to go on Mivtzoim. It was a big work. Big work.
That wasn't really done yet in Argentina. That wasn't done yet in Argentina.
No, it was yes done. But now I came, I have to take care of now. And also was a yeshiva. Rabbi Baumgarten had a yeshiva, let's say 20, 25 kids, gold, every one of them.
The one that you were in? The Rosh
No,
Yeshiva,
I know, because when I was in Yeshiva's Chofetz Chaim.
He had his own yeshiva at that point.
Yes, he was thrown out from Yeshiva's Chofetz Chaim. Mm-hmm. And also, there was an organization that was connected to Rabbi Baumgarten. Since they were connected to Rabbi Baumgarten, they were also thrown out from their building. And then when they were thrown out, and Rabbi Baumgarten was thrown out from Yeshiva's Chofetz Chaim, because came this same Misnagdish rabbi came, then he made sure throughout everybody, and then today these things don't exist anymore. Baruch Hashem, everything will be shalom, I'm talking history from 48 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he started his own yeshiva. He started his own yeshiva in an apartment that a family close to him, Abud family, helped him, gave him an apartment for the yeshiva, and Chaim Lapidus started. No, he was there. He was already back. He was already back from New York, and he was supporting the yeshiva financially, and he started the yeshiva, and this was the basis of Anash, was the yeshiva that he made, and from them came out the first shluchim. When I came, I appointed shluchim. Started the first thing I did, B'ez Hashem Yisbarach, was to start Machne Gam Yisrael camp. We got married Vov Tammuz, and Tammuz here in Argentina is winter vacation. And first of all, we had Merkez Shlichus in Argentina. We restarted Merkez Shlichus, Tovshin Lamed Vov and Lamed Zayin. I went with Rabbi Daniel Levy, he's a Shliach, 4 years already in city Tucumán, 1.5 hours by plane from Buenos Aires. And we went to Merkez Shlichus in the whole provinces of Argentina, 10 cities each time, for a whole month. And was Merkez Shlichus also this year. And we started a camp with this same Bochrim, started a camp. I was in New York getting married, but we had a camp here in Argentina for non-frum children. It was a camp from non-frum children. And this was the first, let's say, Naye Peule, Igeven Camp Gan Yisrael. We had like 40, 50 kids, overnight camp. Not from families, they had the imun, they have the confidence to give their children to these Orthodox rabbis. was a special time also in Argentina politically. It was under a military regime, and all organizations were like closed by the government. All the youth organizations that mainly they were more lefties, they were all closed. That's why I didn't know the whole thing, but Lepel, this made that a lot of kids. We brought kids from all the country. We traveled with a bus from different cities. We brought kids, 70 kids. This was half a year later. We had a summer camp, and later on, I tell you, right away, the first months, I was asked from a school called Wolfson School to teach the kids bar mitzvah. Okay, I taught these kids bar mitzvah. Some of them, I just found them 48 years later. Yeah, but the main story is that 20 years ago, we took over the Wolfson School, Chabad.
Wow.
The school was going into bankruptcy. By a nes mamish, we took over the school. The school just had 118 children left, and today the school has 550 children.
Wow.
But this was the first school where I went in that I taught the children to put on film. It was a conservative school under the conservative movement. But the Menaheles was Orthodox minded. That's why she called me to teach. This was the first Peula, let's say, outside.
Wow. Were there other heroes that you got from the Rebbe over the years for the Shlichus?
I had a zettel. I had I had a zettel. I wrote to the Rebbe after 2-3 years. I was on Shlichus, maybe 3 years. The Yekkishe kehillah called for a meeting for all the Orthodox organizations that assimilation is very strong and nobody is doing nothing. I was sitting there and I felt very bad. We mean nobody's doing nothing. We were working. We were used to go to schools. We had sukkah mobiles. We were going to all the non-religious schools. We used to go to all the country clubs of the non-religious. We were everybody. We gave shiurim. We brought Professor Branover all of Sholem to Argentina to give lectures. We had great peulas, mamish, great peulas we had here. And how do they say nobody's doing anything? Okay, you can say it's not enough, but not to mention the work of Chabad. And when I wrote a duch to the Rebbe, I used to write a duch, everything that's going on. I wrote a duch, I wrote about this meeting, and I wrote that I had a Chalishus Adas. They didn't mention the work of Chabad. But I didn't ask for a question. It was part of a whole long duch. And next to it, the Rebbe put a question mark and how do you say, exclamation mark, and wrote next to the words Chalishus Adas, what means Chalishus Adas, Korev levadai, שהיסוירר שלהם הוא מהקינה סופרים מהצלחוסוי ודל. Then we had a whole mice about matzahs. You know them? I mean, it's...
What's the story?
Huh?
What's the story of the matzahs?
Yeah, story of the matzahs was Mem Aleph, Mem Beis, I don't remember. Mem Aleph, Mem Beis was a big devaluation in Argentina of the peso. And somebody told, and also in Brazil, and somebody told the Rebbe about it and told that it's going to be a problem with matzahs because you bring matzahs come from Israel, and you pay dollars, and it's going to be a price that people will not be able to afford it. And Rabbi Chodakov contacted me and asked me if there is enough matzahs. Really, I didn't see a special, but he asked me if there are matzahs. I told him, really, there's not enough matzahs, because there was here a main factory baking matzahs, but the main production was without no hashgoche, kemach min hashuk, nothing. And if I make most of the people in the street used to buy these matzahs, and they brought matzahs from Israel, but for, let's say, 10,000 kilos, 5,000 kilos, it's not for the whole, for 100,000 Jews that live in Buenos Aires, 150,000 Jews. Bekitzer, I answered, no, it's not enough, it's how much you need. I told him, no, if there are 200,000 Jews, at least 1 kilo per Jew for a whole week, 1 kilo matzah for Jew. I need 200,000 kilos. 200,000 kilos is like 400,000 pounds. Need 400,000 pounds. The Maise, how many matzahs arrived? 2,500 kilos. Okay, that's what it is. But the Rebbe was very involved in it. Mamesh very involved in it, and I felt that the Rebbe was on the telephone. I think so, but and I wrote everything to the Rebbe, what we did, v'chule. Even I also wrote. There was a Satmar Rov, though. There was a friend of mine that he was asking me what's going on, because the matzahs were machine matzahs. Was ist Lubavitch, teilt Maschinen Matzes, what man Geld as Sach, einmal teilt man Hand Matze. And he asked me, why do you give out Matzes, it was, I think, Ashgoche of Soloveitchik, why don't you bring a better Ashgoche from Machine Matzes? I wrote everything to the Rebbe. Bekitzer, next year, I was in New York together with Rabbi Weitman, and Rabbi Chodakov calls us. And we used to go always Shvat, when the summer here, go to New York. It was before Pesach. And
You used to go to Rabbi Weitman together?
No, but he was also from Brazil. He's the same, yeah. And we were both...
I just interviewed him, and he spoke about how you and him went to Russia together.
Yes. But here is another story. This story took place in 770. And Rabbi Chodakov calls us both, and he asked us if we need matzah for this year. How much matzah do we need? He asked, how much matzah do we need? I told Rabbi Chodakov, last year you asked me how much matzah do we need. I told you we need 200,000 kilos. You sent 2,500. Whatever you will send, we will use. That's what I told him. 2 days later, Rabbi Chodakov calls us again to his room and tells the Rebbe was very non-pleased from your answer. You have to say what you need. You don't have to make the calculation of the other person. From there, I also got a strong hoiroa. Then we had another thing that some yeshiva wanted we should take them over. We wrote to the Rebbe about it. They came and they want to give over the whole yeshiva. And the Rebbe answered, Omar kach, or atem choishvim she Omar kach. Bekitzer ha'inyan, the Rebbe was very involved. The Rebbe was on the telephone speaking to me about it, and even giving the name, v'chulu, but the Rebbe had a clear condition. Chabad doesn't make shutfus with nobody, and said, because when you have two different shutfim, this is the way for machlokes. Has to be one balabos. There is one balabos, no machlokes. Okay.
So Rebbe didn't want Chabad to do something in conjunction.
Yes. If we take over, we take them in consideration. The Rebbe wanted to keep their name, everything, take them in consideration.
Like Los Angeles, the yeshiva.
Yeah. The Rebbe brought the Rebbe brought the example from Los Angeles. The Rebbe said
to you in Yekkishe.
Yes, on the phone.
On the phone.
I was speaking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Oil Chonon Chabad.
The Rebbe spoke. You heard the Rebbe on the telephone.
Yes. The Rebbe said like Oil Chonon Chabad. And he said, Yeshivas Chabad Buenos Aires. No, the yeshiva was called. Okay, I don't want to give more details about it. And Lepoel, at the end, they said there should be a vat of 3 balebatim. If there is any misunderstanding, they should be like a consulting vat. And the Rebbe said, Harehem yu balebatim. Umikanu leavo yishbareru sfekiseim eitzel hamalach. Like he drew himself out of it. Since like this,
like that's all I'm saying about this topic.
Yes. And the Rebbe said the Rebbe before the previous says hakel beifon legali. Everything has to be legal. Hakel beifon legali. The Balebatischkeit has to be legal. Legali. Wir sind alle gute Freund, und ich habe sie gekonnt sehr gut, wir gut sind ein Freund, aber es darf sein legal. That's why I'm saying it, because I think this is a heroic portrait in Askonis.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came into Yekkishe, more than half a year later, came into Yekkishe in the room, the first thing the Rebbe asked me, what happened with the yeshiva? This is the first thing the Rebbe asked me. I told to the Rebbe, als der Rebbe hat gesagt, als sie wollen sein die Balebatim, haben wir das auch gelost. Der Rebbe laughed. Er said, ich habe gesagt, sie wollen Tage gewinnen, die Balebatim.
You don't have to blame it on the Rebbe. I'm saying the Rebbe saying, I'm telling you.
Because I said, der Rebbe hat so gesagt, ich habe gesagt, sie wollen Tage gewinnen, die Balebatim.
Wow.
And then the Rebbe says, don't worry, don't become this, how do you say, don't become this...
dejected.
No, don't become without... don't feel bad, let's say. Don't feel bad. Keep on going your work. They give big brachas.
Well, Tak is a yeshiva now, Chabad.
Yeah, today's yeshiva's Chabad today is a big yeshiva, 160 bochrim and sifte. Yeah. We're now thinking about rebuilding the building. No, what are you talking? Bochrim, lomdim, mamesh. Sie kommen jetzt eine Quutze von Gdele Israel, von Ponjevich, von Größe. Sie haben gerade mit unseren Bochrim. Unsere Bochrim sich geworfen mit Risheni, mit Achreni, mit allen litwischen Gdele, mit den Sugyes in Gemara. They couldn't believe it.
Wow. Okay, there's a story you had with Melech Zaken of Chsil. Answer?
Oh, this was 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years after I was on Shlichus, I wrote a zettel to the Rebbe, asking a bracha, but I wrote that I feel after 10 years, I feel weaker begashmies and weaker beruchnies. That's what I wrote, the Nikude. And the Rebbe pointed about it, Harei zu tainas hayetzer, melech, avol zoken uchsil. What did I understand? Melech, you are a Shliach. Melech. Aber Zoken, that means you feel weak, begashmius. Uchsil, you feel weak, beruchnis. It says Shliach can nicht feel weak begashmius and weak beruchnis. If you are a Shliach, you cannot feel like that. I wrote to the Rebbe after 10 years of Shlichus. I was expecting some kind of a broche. But if you don't feel after 10 years Shlichus, you don't feel the privilege, you don't feel you're strong, you don't feel the simcha, you don't feel the chayes, you're a zoken uchsil.
Okay, it's good. Did you ever write to the Rebbe about the oil of the oil Kaspi? The financial burden that you have. Any interactions with the Rebbe about that?
It was another story. You want to hear the whole 48 years in 3 hours. Anyways, what was Toshim and Beis was the war of the Malvinas. In England, they call it Falklands. But this is really, Malvinas are Argentine, and they are Malvinas, not Falklands.
Okay.
Is was the war. It was a very hard time also economically in country. And I had to go and pick up some 500 copies of Thought of the Week. It was the Sichas HaShavua, the weekly Sicha. And I didn't have money for the bus to go pick up the Sichas. But I cannot call up somebody asking, do you have money to go with the bus? It's a shame. I called somebody for donation, then I called another. And the people answered me, I already went through a war. I'm really thinking what's going to do here, if I'm staying here. I got 2 answers like this. I just felt, what's going on here? Yeah. I pick up the phone. It was 2:00 in the afternoon, Argentina time. Maybe in America it was 1:00 or 12:00. Anyways, but it was a time when in order to get in contact to America, you needed 2 to 3 days to make the connection. And also later on, that America should call you back to also used to take another day to make the connection. The Maise, I pick up the phone, I called up. 5 minutes later, I get connected to the international service. Okay, I already get connected. They connected me to 770. But 770 had 2 telephone numbers that were known for everybody, Maskiras. 493-9250 and 493-9251. These were the two telephone numbers of Maskiras. And they were always busy. Always busy. You have only 2 telephones in the world central, 2 telephone lines. Busy the whole time. Even if pick up, I wanted to speak to Rabbi Chodakov to speaking about the situation. That means then, because Rabbi Chodakov worked in Merkos and in Machne, and I don't know other things, and if he was working for Merkos, he didn't pick up Machne things. If he was working in Machne, he didn't pick up for Merkos things. I don't know where he was holding exactly. If you can pick up my phone, that means I had to go through a lot of mesochim and parsoes, a lot of barriers till I get to Rabbi Chodakov. But here, got connected to America right away. Telephone rings. Whew, it's not busy sign. It's ringing. Rabbi Klein, right away, feels me into Rabbi Chodakov. No. I tell him the whole story, what's going on. And I leave it. That's it. Okay, we'll call him back. 10 minutes later, I get a phone call from Rabbi Kodakov. Also, take 1 day right away. I saw that Tarin Shamayim Psichim, the tier of Himmels and alle offen. And Rabbi Chodakov says, you ask for money time ago. Tik-tak, this was like in Sivan, and it was Odor or Shvat by Rabbi Chodor were asking for money.
I'm not following. You asked for money before?
Yes, in Odor, but never got an answer about it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
No, I got an answer. Rabbi Chodakov told me, you know what he told me? Was you coming to take money from the Kaiser's Oitzer? You come from the treasure of the Tsar. You come take money. You have to bring money to the Tsar's treasury. But you coming to take money from the Tsar's treasury? This was his answer. He's bechoifer. But I forget about it. Okay. Is then, but the Rabbi says, you asked for money time ago. The Rebbe appointed to give you a loan. The Rebbe wrote $2,000, but he changed it to $3,000. You should have an idea. In this time, a clean worker in the Beis Chabad used to receive $25 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That means $3,000 was money.
Right.
And okay, and you give it back the way you want and when you want. And then the Rebbe said, let's say it like this, the Rebbe said, give over to you and the other shluchim. We didn't send you to make the calculations of the economic policy of the country. Your job is your job is spreading Yiddishkeit and spreading the mayones, Chassidus. He didn't say Chassidus, he said mayones, yeah. Surely, with bitochen b'Hashem, with confidence in the Eibishter. Surely, people will ask you what you think about the future. You should say you're not a prophet, but your job is to spread Yiddishkeit and the mayones mitoch bitochen b'Hashem. This was the answer.
Unbelievable.
And this is for me a key answer, because if not, I wouldn't be able to go over all kinds of crises and situations that we went through here in Argentina. We started building the new building of the school that finished already 3 years ago in the worst moment of pandemic, of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We're not allowed to be two people together. And then we start building. The worst moment. Kitzer, but the story didn't finish there. This was on a Tuesday. Thursday, a good friend of mine, Mr. Solomon Sutton, very prominent Sephardic family here in Argentina, told me, go to such bank, it was a Jewish bank, speak to the president, ask him for a donation, they have money now. I told him, it's already after banking hours. It was after 3 o'clock, after 4 o'clock. He says, no problem, you go, you bang the door by the street, you say you want to speak to the president, and you ask for a donation. Okay. I came there, I banged the door. It never occurred to me I can bang the door of a bank after banking hours. But I went back to the door, they opened me, I said, I want to come to speak to the president. They let me go up to the president's office. I speak to the president's secretary, and he goes into his office. He says, wait, he will receive you. At 7 o'clock, he received me. I tell him, you don't know me. I'm doing here the work of Chabad. He says, I know you very well. I know whatever you do. You don't have to tell me. It was the first time I was meeting him. tell me what you need. And I told him, I have a debt of people, $25,000. And it doesn't let me work because of the debt. I cannot do things because I have to concentrate the whole time and I have to pay. He says, don't worry, tomorrow we give you the $25,000.
Wow.
This was the first big donation that I received from a donor. I was receiving money from Lapidus family, very nicely, but for the yeshiva. But from somebody out of the Chabad circle was the first big donation. Then I received millions from them.
From the bank.
Yes.
Wow.
The Tzarenu, the bank went bankruptcy. It's a whole story.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a taste of the miracles of Shlichus. So did you bring Baal Batum to the Rebbe?
Sure.
Any stories that you want to share about that?
I brought a balabos to the Rebbe that he went bankruptcy 3 times. He was a Gewir, and 3 times he is geworden Oisgewir. And he came to the Rebbe with me. He didn't have money for the tickets. Kitzer, he asked for a bracha.
This is by dollars? What is this?
No, it was Tovshim Beis.
Mm-hmm.
And asked for a bracha. And since then, he became shh. But lately, and also he wanted to marry his children. He didn't have not one child married. He didn't have no money. In 1 year, he married 2 of his 3 children. But this year, just a few weeks ago, one of his children showed me a letter that the Rebbe wrote to his father. Then, I didn't know about the letter. The Rebbe tells him, he wants to thank him for his help, what he's doing for the mazes of the Rebbe, especially what he's doing to make bigger Harchovas Hamoistus. The Rebbe sent him the Rebbe thanking him for what he's doing for the mazes of the Rebbe, and especially for Harchovas Hamoistus and underlined Harchovas. Then I have some other Balibatim. I cannot tell the stories because they are too private. Miracles, L'maylo miderech hateva legamri.
There's a video of someone asking with you, I think by Machne Yisrael, that if she heard that the Rebbe said whoever wants to be a Gevir could raise their hands, but she wasn't there, so she's asking the Rebbe a bracha for that.
No.
Remember that?
Yeah, sure.
That's just something that I saw.
They've had brachas L'maylo miderech hateva legamri. L'maylo miderech hateva legamri. Onkinak zome.
This family.
Yes. And they know that the koyach is of the Rebbe. Last week, I was by the oil, Chovov. I called him up and asked him if he wants to ask something special. And he says, should be able to do weiter, the Albert and this. And then I tell him, no, you are a partner of the Rebbe. Because we know a soldier.
Amazing. So let's end off like this. How do you live with the Rebbe today in your personal life and Shlichus? And what does it mean to be a chassid after Gimel Tammuz?
We leave it for after Mashiach comes.
The what?
If you leave it after Mashiach comes, okay, it's this is too personal.
How you're a chassid is too personal?
Who says I'm a chassid?
At least you sound like one.
No, but you asked me to be, not to sound like. This you can, other people can give you for this.
So what's the message to me or to anyone that listens that wants to be a chassid today? Maybe connected to the Rebbe today, the way you're describing it.
Learn the Rebbe's Shlichus and Chassidus. This is the way. Through this you have everything. Through this you get to everything. Through this you live with the Rebbe, and you actually get to everything.
It's that simple.
Yes. No, it's simple to say. You have to do it. Yes, you learn. You live in it. Then okay. Then you work on yourself. Then you work on yourself. But you have what to work.
Mm-hmm.
You work with the Rebbe. You don't work with your stomach ideas.
Sounds very simple and a big aveda, and I appreciate very much that this very geschmacked conversation, and you should continue to fulfill the shlichus.
Amen. I hope it's how do you say letoyeles.
100%. It definitely will be. Hatzlacha Rabbi, sei gesund, Rabbi Grunblatt.
Bye bye.